Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly check-in for the 26th of November to the 2nd of December. These messages are for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. Thank you to everyone who likes, shares, comments on the videos and subscribes to the channel. It's all very much appreciated. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please see the description box below the video for information on how to do that. These are the decks I'm going to be using for today's reading. This one is brand new and I'm very excited to be using it. I connected with the deck straight away, felt good in my hands. The messages were just, relevant beyond belief. So I'm looking forward to using this one. So we're going to start off with a message from this one. So it's Black Moon Lilith Cosmic Alchemy Oracle deck, and it's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah. So let's get your oracle card out first of all. And we also have, I think I need to point out first of all, this message, you might want to consider it as relevant for the full moon on the 27th of November. So whatever comes up, we often talk about the full moons being a time for release. So anything you need to release, you might want to consider the message a part of that as well. So let's see what comes out. So what is the message for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising for the 26th to the 2nd, 26th of November to the 2nd of December? And two have fallen. No, actually it's 3. I was going to have a look at it, but since it's so many, I'm not going to take it. Right, let's try and see what message comes out for you. So for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising for the weekly check-in. You have Venus, love and abundance. Okay. So I'm going to read the message from the book. So your message says, Venus loves to make life easier, beautiful and joyful. She's a sprinkle of cosmic glitter, the life of the party. When this card appears, the opulent energy of Venus is sashaying into your life. Expect financial breakthroughs, romantic improvements, or the desire to change your aesthetic appearance. If you have dealt with any relationship challenges, Venus brings peace. If you have an important negotiation or judicial matter in your life, the scales will tip in your favor. In ancient Roman mythology, Venus is the divine feminine goddess of love, relationships, beauty, fertility, harmony, material worth, and abundance. The planet Venus is called a morning star, as its bright magnetic light is visible in the sky at dawn. In astrology, Venus is the planetary ruler of harmonious air sign Libra and sensual earth sign Taurus. Libra is associated with equality, balance, art, beauty, romance, love and aesthetics. Taurus invokes sensuality, abundance, luxury, fertility, elegance and nature. Venus represents what we find attractive, how we manage our finances and what we enjoy. Identify your Venus sign in your natal chart and find out your love needs in the following list. So I'm going to read this list out. So this is a list, your needs in love according to your Venus sign. So Venus in Aries is connected to bold energy. Venus in Taurus, romantic sensuality. Venus in Gemini, mental stimulation. Venus in Cancer, nurturing attention. Venus in Leo, play and romance. In Virgo, practical stability. Venus in Libra, harmony and balance. In Scorpio, emotional depth. In Sagittarius, adventure and wisdom. In Capricorn, tradition and responsibility. Venus in Aquarius, eccentricity and uniqueness. And Venus in Pisces, sentimental love. And the final message says you are magnetic. Love, abundance and joy are on its way to you. And if you're not sure what your Venus sign is, there's a link in the description box for a website where you can generate your own birth chart, and then that would bring up your Venus sign. That was a lot to take in, to be honest. I do love these messages. They're not exceptionally long, but it was quite a bit to take in, really. And what caught my eye as well, where it said Venus is the morning star, its bright magnetic light is visible in the sky at dawn. I'm actually wondering sometimes, because I do a school run in the morning and a walk, and sometimes we can see something shining, but we're not sure what it is, if it's a star, if it's the moon, if it's the sun, whatever, like it's not explicitly clear what it is. So I'm now wondering, the time that we leave when it's really early in the morning, is it actually Venus? I'm not certain, but there you go. So let's get your tarot cards out as well and see what your theme is. So love, abundance. Let me just have another quick look at the book because that was such a mouthful of information to take in. Just have a quick look. Yeah, love and abundance. It's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it? So, right. The cards will explain more. So what else do we need to know for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising? For this weekly check-in, please. What else do we need to know here? Right, that was quick and I think I'm going to take it. Right, we've got Six of Pentacles. I mean, that would be the financial abundance side of things, wouldn't it, really? And that's like where you have so much that you're able to give and share it as well. That's your main theme. What's your energy specifically? How are you dealing with things? You have, wow, the Lovers. Okay, so we've got 2 Venus themes already with the Lovers. I mean, that's the love side, isn't it? And let's look at any external energies. I'm going to try that again. That was 3 cards and I'm not sure that felt right. So let's try again. Right, that felt right. That was very dramatic. 5 of Swords. That actually tried to come out with the Lovers, but it was upright before. So we've got the 5 of Swords there, but it's in reverse. Okay. There might be a very specific relationship here with this, because what I'm thinking with the 6 of Pentacles, yes, it can be about money, just a generosity, charity, but with the Lovers being there and the 5 of Swords in reverse, it sort of speaks of like balance and equality and harmony in a relationship. So if Temperance comes, I mean, what have you got in the bottom of the deck? Justice. Okay. Right. I was going to say if Temperance comes out, that will be interesting, but Justice is there, balance, equality. And you've got the scales there as well, and it's connected to Venus with Libra, isn't it? So anything else? So right, we're looking at your advice now. I'm not going to take that. I've got 4 of Wands. That's another card of balance as well. Whoop. Ace of Wands. Let's try that again. So your advice, please, Sagittarius. 9 of Pentacles. Right, okay. There could be something here, if it's relationship related, there could be something here about the balance. How would I explain it? You know, like if you're in a relationship, it's where you don't want to lose yourself in a relationship, and you don't want to, you still want to be yourself, don't you? And have your own, it's not, I don't know if the right word is independence, but your own sense of self. Like you don't want you want to enjoy the relationship and connect, but you still want to be who you are and not have your entire life taken over by the relationship. So that's the balance in a way. And I am thinking, who is this 5 of Swords? You know, I say about the external or surrounding energy. Yes, it can be a person. It could be a situation. It could be an energy from planets, whatever is going on in your life that pushes you to look at something. But I am wondering, and when it first came out, I was thinking, who is this? Is this a specific person? But let's have a look here. And the relationships, it can be romantic. It doesn't have to be. Relationship, it can be anything. Relationships can be with people. They can be with things in life, like your relationship with your job. You know, there's a variety of ways we can look at things. Your relationship with creativity, with yourself as well, to be honest. So why is the 6 of Pentacles here as the main energy, please? I keep thinking about, okay, Ace of Cups now. I keep thinking, oh God, that's interesting that came up. I was going to say, with the Lovers there, the thing that, and all of the cards, the thing that keeps coming to mind is someone like being in a relationship and thinking, how can I enjoy this without giving too much of myself? And I mean, the Ace of Cups, it can be sharing love, it can be filling your own cup, and it's clarifying the 6 of Pentacles. So again, that whole thing of balance. And I'll repeat, it can be romantic, it may not be, it can be with anybody, it could be with a family member, it could be with a child even, you know, like with kids. Obviously your child is a major priority in your life. We put our kids first. I'm a parent as well. But then you still have to take care of yourself too, and make sure that you're not depleting yourself, and that you get help where you need it, or that you're just balancing things out. So you're balancing out the self-care and prioritizing of other people. It could be if you're a carer, whether it's for someone who has a disability, someone who's temporarily ill, long-term ill, and someone who's elderly, an elderly family member. It's balancing all of that out so that you want a good relationship with them as well. If you're looking after someone, just because you're looking after someone, say if they were sick, for example, there's more to that relationship, unless it's your profession. Like obviously if you're a carer, support worker, whatever, that's a profession. But with a family member, you want to actually have a relationship with them as well. Hopefully, if you're looking after someone who's ill, and it's, oh, what film did I watch? Okay, so I've been watching quite a few Korean films at the minute, and I cannot remember for the life of me. Oh, it was called 20th Century Girl. I usually watch Korean horror movies actually, but for some reason I've started watching the lighter hearted ones. And there was one, the film 20th Century Girl. It's a girl and her best friend has a heart. So spoiler alert. Her best friend has a heart condition, and she goes to have a heart disorder. And basically this girl, this character, and I can't remember the names of the characters now, I'm sorry. She's an absolutely loving, amazing friend to the person who's had to have the heart operation, but she sacrifices herself a lot for her friend. Like even if she's in pain, whatever her needs are, she puts it all aside for her best friend. And it's very admirable qualities, but it's like nearer to the end of the film, the friend has to kind of says to her, I need a friend, not a nurse, because it's like everything she does, she's taking care of this friend with the heart condition, but she always puts, she doesn't prioritize herself or consider her own feelings as well. And it's like it takes her friend to say to her, you need to kind of, not in these exact words, but you need to be happy too. You know, if we want to enjoy this friend and have an equal balanced friendship, then you have to be happy too. It's not all about me. That's the gist of what she was saying. Really interesting, because at the beginning of the film I was saying, oh, this is ridiculous, the storyline is a bit stalkerish, which it kind of was. It was a bit weird and stalkerish at first in a light-hearted kind of way, but yeah, it went a bit too far for me at first. And then by the end of the film I actually cried. I'll be honest with you, it upset me for like a day. I was crying because, you know, I think Korean films always have to have some twist that tugs your heartstrings. So yeah, I cried at the end of the film after criticizing the beginning, saying it was ridiculous. But yeah, it's that self-sacrificing. I mean, what I found interesting with that film as well is that in a lot of modern films, it's like women are admired. And I'm not saying you can't have, it's duality, isn't it? There are different aspects. Like women are, it's like if you're tough and if you're strong and blah, 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 you're admired for being that kind of woman and outspoken. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it was really interesting seeing a character in a film admired for being soft and gentle and caring and self-sacrificing. And I'm glad it got to the point where the friend said to her, you're too self-sacrificing, because then she needs to be happy as well. But it was just interesting seeing a character being admired for being so sweet for a change, compared to the modern, you know, the modern thing where it's always got to be about being tough, which, yeah, we all need to have a tough side, but bloody hell, are we allowed to just chill and be soft now, or do we always have to be tough all the time? Right, so onto this now, after I've chatted for like 5 minutes. So 6 of Pentacles. So I was saying it seems like in a relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise, how can you enjoy the relationship and have a relationship and not just be someone's nurse, not just be someone's mother? What are the things? Not just be someone's carer. How can you enjoy the relationship as well and have it feel abundant and not just pure obligation and duty and self-sacrifice? So you've got the Knight of Wands and the Emperor. I mean, the Knight of Wands, it's about freedom, it's about fun, it's about enjoyment, it's about adventure, isn't it? You've got the Emperor here. So this person, the Emperor, is someone who is very much in control and very responsible. So you've got the two exact opposites here. The Knight of Wands can be seen as irresponsible in the extreme, and then the Emperor can be seen as overly stoic and overly controlling in the extreme, can't they? Right, that's interesting. Let's continue on there. Do I want to take those? I'm going to put those back. They don't feel right, to be honest. I would say it's very much about the balance, achieving the balance here. I mean, logic, Knight of Swords is logic, isn't it? Where's the fun? I mean, yeah, we do need to be logic, but in relationships with people, you wanna enjoy the bond, the connection as well, where possible. I mean, obviously, I know in certain situations, especially if someone's really ill or something like that, it's hard to, especially say with things like dementia, Alzheimer's, I know they're connected, things like that. It's hard, but you have to take those little moments, don't you, and enjoy it where you can and however you can. How can you enjoy it more? How can you have the balance between responsibility and enjoyment in a connection? Right, 8. So yeah, does the relationship feel like it's all work and no play? Whether again it is literally just romantic or whether it's something more intense than that. Let's get one more. King of Cups. So you may be hiding how you feel, like that character in the film. I mean, the friend gave examples in the film of situations where the self-sacrificing person was self-sacrificing, but never, like one thing she said was, oh, she never ever complains. She never complains. And it's like, I know we can sometimes admire people for being tough and never complaining, but is that fair to them? Like, if you're working yourself to the bone, you know, like some people say, oh, my parent back in 1950, whatever, worked hard and they were always working themselves to the bone and they never complained. Okay, it's on the one hand, yeah, it's kind of a little bit admirable that they never complained. But then how is that fair to them that did they feel like they weren't allowed to complain? I mean, I'm not blaming them for that, but it's like, is it fair that people struggle and they go through pain and I don't want to say suffering, that's a bit dramatic, but what's wrong with them complaining? What would it be wrong for them to say, oh, I'm absolutely bloody knackered? Would that be bad for them to say that? It's like, I know they probably don't mean it like this when they say they never complain, but it almost says, well, you sort of want to ask the question, well, what if they did complain? Does it then make them less of a person or something if they did say, I'm knackered? You know, it's just, that's just where my mind goes. Is it, are we kind of removing their permission or sort of saying that if they had complained, it makes them weak or something, or there's something wrong with them? Because for me, if you're struggling, if you're battling, if you're in absolute agony, why do you have to sit there with your mouth shut? I mean, if you can do that and you want to do that, fine. But if you do open your mouth and say that you're hurting, what's wrong with that? You're just being honest about how you feel. You're allowed to express that. And then how do we know? We say they didn't complain, like people say their parents never complained. How do you know that? How do you know that at bed, when it came to bedtime, they didn't go to bed and cry themselves to sleep because they were struggling so much, but then they put on a brave face for you, which again, I'm not criticizing anyone for that, but it's just that we have the human side of us, and if we feel like we want to express and vent, I think we, obviously within reason, not go around ripping everybody's head off, but you have a right to express if you're struggling, if you're hurting, etc. So again, the balance. I don't think I'm going to sub-clarify any of this because it feels straightforward. In a particular relationship, connection, whatever it is, where's the balance? Are you expressing how you feel? Are you suffering in silence? Are you able to enjoy the connection? Is it all work and no play? Are you feeling like it's just purely obligation, responsibility? Where's the fun? Are you allowed to have fun with the person as well? So those are all questions you might want to ask yourself. And the release might be, you may need to release how you feel. And it, as I say, it doesn't mean you go around ripping everybody's head off saying, nobody cares about me and I'm struggling and I'm suffering and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, do you have someone, if you are finding it difficult or you just want to vent a little bit, is there someone you can talk to and sort of say, oh, this is tough, man. It's really tough. If you feel like you want to get it out of your system instead of holding it all in. Because that can breed resentment sometimes as well. If you try to hold it in and pretend like it's cool and just tough your way through it, sometimes you can become resentful and bitter over time. It may not be immediately, but maybe 20 years down the line, you may not realize that you've held in all of the resentment. So anyway, I'm going to get off that trip. So your card is the Lovers. So for you, I would say that you're feeling a connection of some sort. And again, this could be a relationship with yourself, even if it's not another person. It could be about the balance in the relationship with yourself. One example I would give is if you're a very responsible person, that's one thing. Where's the balance? So would you allow yourself to play? Or if you're very spiritual or religious and you're really strict with yourself, and it's like, are you allowing yourself to have fun? Does it always have to be, oh, I'm working on myself, I'm bettering myself? And there's nothing wrong with that. But then does it get to the point where it becomes too much and you don't enjoy life because you're so focused on bettering yourself and being this and being that and meeting this standard and that standard? So again, the balance. Right, the Lovers. We have the Three of Cups, which suggests other people, actually. So yes, I still think it could be other yourself, your relationship with yourself, but we've got the Three of Cups, which suggests other people, whether it is community, friends, family, a person. You may actually be thinking about your, well, I mean, Justice is here again, a card of balance and what's fair. What is fair for you in terms of your relationships and connections with others, or what's not fair, to be honest. So anything else? I'm going to try that again. That didn't feel right. Yep, that whole is it worth it card. Is it worth it? Is this relationship worth it? Is the situation worth it? What's working? What's not working? What does more effort need to be put into? Do I need to put more effort into having fun? I'd say with the Tower being there, something may need to change. Well, something probably does need to change. Let's see what comes after that Tower. I think I'll do that on its own. You may even be like, say if it's romantic relationship related, it may even be about being single, that you are single and you may have broken up with someone recently, or you might be considering going into a relationship again, or pursuing a relationship or dating or something, and you're contemplating all of the old situations you've been in and what was fair, what wasn't fair. What do you need to change about yourself? What do you want to be different about your next partner or the next relationship? And the Eight of Cups, for me, it's a card of not settling. So let's look at the Tower. What didn't work or what's not working? What needs to change here with that Tower card? I mean, as I say, if you're self-sacrificing, that needs to change, right? We've got the Knight of Pentacles. That's a very, very responsible, diligent person. Are you... Well, first of all, are you too responsible and you're not enjoying things? Are you not having fun? And there was something else that just came to mind and it's gone. Do you have really strict principles and morals that kind of take the fun out of your relationships? And does that need to change? That's another thing here with that Knight of Pentacles, because they're very practical. Are you too practical about things? Like you have rules like, God, I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything that makes sense right now, but really strict things like, I don't know, I won't kiss anyone until we've dated for 6 months. I know that's a really stupid thing to come up with, but that's the only thing that could come to my head. And obviously you do what you're comfortable with, don't you? That's not the best example, but I couldn't think of anything else. But are your rules kind of ruining your relationships, where you may have to kind of compromise or rethink them because it's something that's having a massive impact, and it's not life or death, you know, it doesn't go against any major morals. It's just, sometimes it's about control, isn't it? We have rules because we want to feel in control for whatever reason, whether it's because of past experiences or how we were raised or whatever. So that's come up for me before in a reading, actually, about counting principles. There was something for me where the reader said, and I agree with it, and I still am not 100% clear. Over the years, I've come up with different things that these counting principles could be, but I always feel like I still haven't figured it out yet. What are my counting principles? But it's where you have, again, so many rules or morals or principles that your relationships just can't succeed because nobody can match your standards. Yeah, so... Right, anything else for that Tower card? Nine of Cups. I mean, that would be the pleasure, wouldn't it? The Nine of Cups. That's, again, it's the opposites, the overly responsible, potentially, versus pleasure, contentment. Three of Wands, that's your intentions. And, you know, for me, if it's romantic, to do with romantic relationships, like, say, dating, the Three of Wands for me often feels like the non-negotiables. Like what can you consider that are over the top principles or whatever, but and what is it that you can drop and kind of adapt and change? What principles do you really need to hold on to? What are the literal non-negotiables? Like for me, a non-negotiable would be, I want to be with somebody kind. I don't want to be with an arsehole. That's a non-negotiable for me. I refuse to be with someone who's an absolute arsehole. That's horrible to people and selfish. That is a non-negotiable. That's not too much to ask for, because I think we'd expect that from a friend, anybody. You wouldn't want to be best friend. Well, I don't know. But I personally wouldn't want to be friends with an arsehole who is absolutely rude and horrific to everybody. That's a general non-negotiable. So we've got the Nine of Swords, and that for me, again, that's where, say in relationships, it's considering what hasn't worked. That would be the what hasn't worked. So I'm going to leave that there. So as I say, you could either be currently in a connection, whether it's with a person romantically or not, and considering what's working, what's not, or it could be that you are wanting to date or pursue a relationship and you're sort of considering, again, what's worked, what's not worked, what needs to change, non-negotiables, principles, those kind of things. But as I say, it doesn't mean you have to settle. Even if you adapt and change your rules or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to settle for bullshit. It doesn't mean you drop your standards. It's just that you reassess your standards and you kind of think what's too much. And then again, if it's already in a connection where you're kind of getting depleted or overly sacrificing, it's kind of leaving that behind. Not the person, but just this whole self-sacrificing thing and gaining more of a sense of balance in where is it too much, and then how can you enjoy the relationship more. So this Five of Swords is interesting. As I said, I don't know, let's see if it is another person or if it's just, could be self-sabotage energy, where it's an energy that's pushing you to sort of assess where you're self-sabotaging in relationships. I mean, self-sacrificing, it can be, sounds admirable on paper, but in a way it's self-sabotage, isn't it? Because if you're always giving too much, you are sabotaging yourself in a way. And again, the counting principles things, if you've got too many hardcore strict rules about what you will and won't do in relationships, not taking into account that the other person has their own feelings and morals and whatever as well, then that's another way of sabotaging yourself. So why is the Five of Swords there, please? I mean, that looks like the fun for a start and the freedom from whatever it is that makes things too serious. I mean, maybe this is another person. It could be you. It could be another person who sort of sees. This could be that, you know, the friend with the heart condition in the film. That could be someone who represents that friend who sees that you are self-sacrificing or that you are being overly responsible. That's a potential there. Or it could be someone who you're around or involved with, and they could be feeling this counting principles things where it's like it's too much. Like they want things to be fun and enjoyable, but it's like, this is a lot to deal with. You're a lot to deal with. And I know I don't mean that as a criticism, as a harsh criticism to you, but none of us are perfect, are we? So let's see, anything else? But there's definitely a need for things to be more light-hearted, free-spirited, maybe more fun, more enjoyable. Right, we've got the Four of Wands there. And I mean, so the Four of Wands, it can be about foundations, but it can be celebrations as well, like parties, stuff like that. It's usually an enjoyable occasion. Anything else? Anything else for that? Four of Cups, okay. I may need to look at that on its own. And then we have the Star. So, I mean, if it's about self-sacrificing, you would probably need the Four of Cups and knowing when to take a break. That would be something there. Let's look at the Four of Wands on its own. So that does feel like foundations. Like, what's the foundation of the relationship with a person that you've already connected to or that you want to connect with? What is the foundation? And I think, well, no, I think I'm going to put this back because that's too much. I just did a reading for Gemini, and part of theirs was with a sense of belonging. And I brought up the example of when we're kids, for the most part, when we're very young in particular, there aren't conditions to friendships, are they? All you see is another kid. The way kids connect, you look at another kid, it's like, oh, another kid, let's have fun together. And that's the basis of the relationship, isn't it? That you're just there to enjoy each other. There's no judgment. I mean, yes, I know that as kids get older, can become mean, but little kids, for the most part, it's just a sense of freedom, enjoyment. It's just another kid to play on the playground with and enjoy themselves with. And maybe that's what, if there is another person there, or if it's just an energy that's kind of pushing you, motivating you, it's like, is the foundation of the the relationship, the connection, that we want to enjoy each other. I mean, yes, there are other parts to it as well, but is that there because that is important too? Why do we want to spend time with people? To enjoy their company and for them to enjoy our company as well. So anything else? Inspiration, that came up a lot in Gemini's reading, about being around people that that inspire us, that we feel inspired with, and that we can inspire too. So I'll leave that. Let's look at that Four of Cups. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, I'll take it. So Six of Swords, Three of Swords. I'm going to get one more, but I do have a thought on that, to be honest with you. I have a strange thought on that. Well, not a strange thought. The thought that's come into mind with this is, again, back to that self-sacrificing thing. And talking about when I said, if you've got a parent who you said, oh, they never complained, they struggled and they suffered and their hands bled when they came home from work, but they never complained. It's that, it's like, if you feel like you can't open up, like if you're in a friendship or relationship or connection or whatever, can you open up? Do you feel like you have to keep it all to yourself if you're hurting, if you're suffering, if you have a thought? I mean, obviously, if it was a situation where you're a carer for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, you can't talk to that person because they're not, the capacity isn't there. But is there anybody else that you can sort of open up to and be seen and heard with the Six of Wands about that? Are you in a sort of comfort zone of keeping it all to yourself and trying to resolve it by yourself rather than expressing how you feel? So I'll leave that there. And again, if it was to do with new relationships as well, how much do you open up to people that you're involved with romantically, and friendships as well for that matter? Do you keep things to yourself because you feel like, I don't know, you feel like you don't matter, you feel like they won't understand you, you feel like you'll be seen as weak? That's what comes to mind here. Do people feel like you are closed off emotionally? Is this someone around you that feels like you may be very practical and do what needs to be done, but are you emotionally closed off? Do you express how you feel with them? Are you expressing the real you? We've got the Star there, so let's just have a quick look at that. And I know the reading is quite long, which is just my style at this point in time. That Four of Swords, I mean, that is, again, that's detachment from people, isn't it? Anything else? Page of Swords. So there's two ways of looking at that. That can be immature communication. It can also be where people need more information as well. So let's get one more and then I'll see. Ten of Wands, that's someone who's taking on a lot of responsibility and a lot of burden. I am kind of thinking this is someone else more so. Again, it could be you or something around you pushing you to change things. But I'm almost thinking, is this how other people see you? And there is someone in particular who's wishing that you could be freer and enjoy things more, open up more, and kind of wishing that when you're going through things, when you're struggling, they could be a listening ear to you as well and help you and support you. Right, so I'm going to leave that there and I'm going to go on to your advice. So let's look at the advice. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. So just bear with me, I'm just putting all of the cards back in different places. That's all of them. Right, so Nine of Pentacles, that's the advice. I mean, I did speak of comfort zones with the Nine of Pentacles. It's about, that is a card of kind of pleasure as well and enjoyment too, isn't it? I guess there's something here about time to yourself. So again, if you're self-sacrificing, are you giving too much of your time and energy to others? Do you need to take back some of that time for yourself, whether it is romantic, non-romantic? Again, I talked at the beginning about if you're romantically involved with someone and you're afraid of losing yourself in that, what do you do or what do you need to do to kind of maintain your own sense of self? So anything else for that Nine of Pentacles? Oh my God, Nine of Pentacles, okay. See, that's that whole, is everything, you have everything that you need, but not necessarily what you want with the Nine of Pentacles. So you could have a beautiful romantic relationship, but it feels like, I don't know, something's missing. And it might not be to do with the relationship itself. It might just be, again, you give too much to that. Like, do you still maintain your own hobbies? Do you maintain your relationships outside, like friendships outside of a romantic relationship? It could even be like you have a best friend and you just give all of your time and energy to them, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, I'm allowed to have other friends and other activities that I do as well. I don't have to be attached like glue to my best friend 24/7. I'm allowed to kind of explore my own identity and new and different things too. Right, Queen of Wands. I mean, on the extreme end, she can be considered to be selfish, but for the most part, it's about standing up for who she is and what she wants and kind of prioritizing herself. Again, it's not about being 100% selfish and just only thinking about yourself all the time, but prioritizing yourself is important too. So you've got connections there, and this is understanding. This card, the Two of Cups, yes, it is about connection, whether it is with a person or a path or whatever it is, but it's a shared cup, isn't it? Are your relationships, is there a sense of balance and harmony and understanding in your relationships? Communication. I mean, the Page of Wands for me, the first thing, I don't normally get communication immediately from that, but that is kind of giving communication. Are you communicating your needs and how you feel to the relevant person or people? And then we have Ace of Pentacles. So that would be other opportunities. Again, if you need to take some of the time back for yourself, what are the other opportunities that you want to explore or enjoy outside of your connection with a particular person? Or if it's that you're wanting to date people, to date new people, or you've got someone in mind, again, that whole thing about being yourself, having a balanced connection, considering the morals, the foundation, that sort of thing. What is it you want to experience, taking into consideration the other person's feelings as well. Like, prioritize yourself, but consider them as well, and what principles you need to keep and what's just excessive, what's over the top. Right, so I'm going to leave that there, and I'll get you a final card of advice. And I'm mentally trying to think of a title in my head for this, and I'm not sure at the minute. So I'm going to use the Power of Love deck to get you a final message. And I can see that this week's readings are going to be long as well, because that's 2 in a row that are very long. So final message for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising, please. And you have a tolerance. You appreciate other points of view because you sense the love in everyone. So that could be that whole principles thing. I've forgotten what I said now, what it was. Rigid principles was what the other reader kind of said, is something that came up for me. Counting principles. So I'm going to read it from the book. It's not excessively long. And for me, this tolerance, it can be tolerance in terms of, yes, it does mention other people, but how much are you tolerating yourself as well? Like, are you putting up with stuff again out of obligation, where you could balance things out a bit more? And again, what are you expecting people to tolerate from you if the counting principles thing is relevant? So it says, this school that we call Earth can be a very daunting destination. You should be proud of the bravery you have shown by electing to come here to experience it. The planet has a multitude of belief systems and philosophies practiced by beings who don't look or act exactly like you do, even though we are the same inside. Ironically, choosing to incarnate into a dimension where you feel separated from the whole is what makes Earth so appealing to courageous souls like you. The souls who graduate with high honours are the ones who have seen past the illusion of race and gender and religious belief and recognise their brothers and sisters. Love thy neighbour as thyself is the mantra of this card. The physical guises that we wear are just that, illusions. In truth, we are all the same, beings of love. When you are able to go within and connect with your soul's loving energy, you have the realization that we all belong to and originate from the same source. Tolerance is being secure within your own sense of self and letting others be as they are without judgment or bias. Learn to see them as weary travelers who, like you, crave encouragement, respect, and support. So you deserve this too. You deserve it too. As I said at the beginning, it should be a balance. Are you tolerating things you shouldn't be tolerating, or are your expectations of others too high? You'll know depending on your situation. So I'll leave your message there. Feel free to like, share, or comment on the video. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel as well. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please go to the description box for information on that. And thank you very much for watching, Sagittarius. Until the next reading, take care.